I was there. I don't have to listen to it.
This week's show because it was a disaster.
When you live in a beach resort, it's easy to forget whether you are playing or working. On each week's show, we settle in with a cocktail and try to figure out if there is a difference. This is Day Drinking on Delmarva.
I am Todd from GoodCleanFunLife.com.
And I'm Tony Russo, no relation, and you're listening to Day Drinking on Delmarva, a podcast about life and culture. On the Delmarva Peninsula, Todd drinks because he gets to live here. I drink because I like to celebrate getting that intro right for the first time.
Hey, that was good.
Yeah, it looks pretty sharp, too. If you're a video watcher, if you're not a video watcher and you want to pop over to our Substack and see the video that goes with this, it's neat. After 12 years, Todd used to do the intro. Todd used to do all the videoing, and he's a professional, and he did a good job. And I'm like, I'll try it. And it took me 6 months just to figure out, like, which of this was on the left-hand side. So
just to hit play.
I know. We did. Didn't I not record one, or did I not record one?
Oh, yeah. No, I think the first couple, when we moved to Riverside, were not recorded.
Yeah. No, they weren't.
Or not streamed.
Right. Or no, there was one I believe that I streamed but did not see. Something like that. Something minor league baloney. But anyway, I just found they've got I didn't know they had toys.
There you go. Thank you. Yeah, Tony.
All right, that's going to go on for another 9 seconds. I can't. Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. It'll never happen again. So each week we like to talk about a business that we like, and this week it's me. We're going to just kind of jump right in here. So Destination Delmarva is getting ready to launch. I'm sorry, it's launched-ish. I told you a couple weeks ago I accidentally launched the first podcast, but I have an interview tomorrow tomorrow is the 18th as we record, and it's probably yesterday as you're listening. But I'm going to be speaking with Rena Thaler of the Ocean City Art League. I'm going to do a long form feature on the 10th anniversary of the Ocean City Film Festival. That's going to be, I think, an audio and written feature. Definitely audio, maybe also written. And I'm looking forward to that. And that should be out at the end of January, which will really be the real launch of Destination Delmarva finally.
You just got a leaked Marvel teaser trailer.
Yes.
Right?
But the show that's up is nothing like the rest of the shows that the show that I put up to try to make everybody all warm and fuzzy was about a lynching. So we know where all of
Welcome to the Eastern Shore.
Yeah, welcome to the Eastern Shore. And I will also be working in Ocean Pines maybe 1 or 2 days a week in the next couple months as I get ready to do the Ocean Pines book. The history of Ocean Pines. I believe that I will be writing that in early 2026 for hopefully next Christmas. Get your copies early, although I don't get a piece of the sales, which is fine, but still get your copies early because I'm vain.
Yeah.
And so that's the end of my commercial, but we were talking earlier before you get on. Last week, Todd, I asked Todd, are we good for today? And he's like, well, I'm in Copenhagen. So how'd you end up in Copenhagen last week?
Well, it was one of those trips that we planned for Natalie's birthday. She has family there and hasn't been back in 30 years.
Wow.
Her very generously, her father, who has a lot of Danish pride, has long wanted to take all of the kids, and with grown adult grandchildren now, and everybody going different directions, it was just going to be too hard to plan for to get everybody to go. And I guess at some point we had talked about doing a European vacation, and basically said, we can't stick around and wait for everybody else. Let's just do it on our own. December was apparently a lovely time. I can confirm now it is a lovely time. Christmas markets, and this is of course, a country and a major metropolitan city that embrace cold weather or weather of any sort. And yeah, so we booked the trip a little while back. I probably didn't mention anything to you because we had a lot of stuff going on with traveling back and forth to see my mom on the other side of the bridge, holidays, all of that. And we didn't want to jinx anything about the trip, so we kind of kept it cards close to our chest on that. But but man, it was spectacular. Yeah, Copenhagen, Denmark. I don't know if it still is. It has for many years been listed as one of the happiest places on earth. And I think Tony, I think even you would enjoy it.
I would. So we've been planning. So the problem with Europe for me is you can't get there by car.
Yeah,
and
that's
going
the
to the
tough part.
airport just ruins my whole week.
Yeah.
So I actually looked up. It's not that expensive to take it. You can spend, if you have a week to spend, you can spend a week on a boat. So I might take the Queen. Our working old people year in Europe. Would you like to hear it?
Yes.
So we take the Queen Mary over, right? That's a week. And then we rent a house in Prague or near Prague because it's apparently the cheapest city on the planet, or certainly the cheapest city in Europe. It's like obnoxiously inexpensive. My friend of my wife's was there last year, and he had this, I think he rented a house that was like $400 US for the week.
Oh, wow.
So we go in Prague, and then we tour Europe from Prague. We take the trains, and we take the boats, and we take the cars, and we see other places, because since we're good at road tripping in America,
right,
which is bigger, I mean, the distance between Prague and, I don't know what the different distance is between Prague and London, but Christ, I drove across Montana, which is the longest place to drive across anyway.
Yeah. Well, and it's fun too, because we were over there, the food, the culture, like it. One thing that I do want to get into is how everything in America is just the carbon copy of things that are in Europe, and a diminished carbon copy in regard to the Christmas bazaars and all of that sort of thing.
So I want to talk about that maybe for the whole show. Just real quick, it's 13 hours from Prague to London. I mean,
that's
Christ,
nothing.
that's Chicago.
I'm doing that that's Chicago. I'm doing that in February when we go to Florida. So
yeah, no, 13 hours. Forget about it. Yeah, we're living in Prague for a year, maybe for my 70th and 71st birthdays. I'm sorry I interrupted you though, and I do want to talk about the difference between.
Well, before we get to the differences and a little bit of the cultural insight, is we have real family there now, not family that we've seen recently, but have kept in touch with, and like are just feel like you might see them every other Christmas, even though we haven't for quite some time. So we had a traditional Frocus, which is a Christmas lunch. Frocus basically is little sandwiches of pickled herring and
I love pickled herring. I mean, I love you. Look at
and
me.
it's like well, and you would love it too, because it's a small bites, like kind of course after course. There's all of these rules, but one of the rules is that you have to do a shot of schnapps. They use Aquavit, which is like the Danish liqueur. And after each one, because the pickled herring needs something to swim in, so that's why you do the Aquavit. But another cousin who lives in Rotterdam was like, "You got to come. You can come and stay with us." And now he claims, I don't know the validity, but from Rotterdam, it's like a 2-hour train ride to London or a 2-hour train ride to Paris.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
it's impossibly small. Europe is impossibly small, and it's something that I don't think we appreciate enough.
Yeah. But getting to the time of year and the season and that sort of thing, the Danish have a phrase about there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothes. I don't know what it is in Dutch, but everybody's out and about. The cycling and the bike culture is so big there. Every person has a bike. They ride 20 minutes year round, rain, snow, or sleet to their place of work. They have like carriages in front for groceries or kids, or we even saw some bar goers with full grown adults sharing a ride on a bike.
Mm.
And it's just so fantastic. And we were excited. Natalie's birthday, of course, was last week, and we're excited to go there for the winter months because they do these Christmas bazaars, right? And so they're set up outside, and you have the little tchotchke places, and then you buy some mulled wine and raisin and stuff they call glog, and walk around and get some toasted nuts and little trinkets for family back home for Christmas and that sort of thing. And it was just so it seems so authentic, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like this is, this is people who have been doing this for years and years and years. And I just think about the Winterfest of Light in
Right.
Ocean City. I like to make fun of it. I don't think I've only been once,
I don't think
but
anybody needs to go more than once. My daughter rather, she goes every year. She takes the kids. That's a thing.
yeah,
It's never been my thing.
it's just it just feels so cheap. Like
Well, there's an inauthenticity to it.
yeah,
And that was culturally, that's something. It's so funny because I just heard that recently. I was listening to a podcast. Somebody else had just come back from Europe, and he's like, his theory is Europeans won't put up with the shit that Americans will put up with. Like,
yeah,
they have Starbucks there, but they have to be nice because if they're shitty,
right,
people
right,
won't go.
yeah,
People have options, or they're just snobs about it. And we're snobs about how cheap things are. And that's
yeah.
not a good way.
I with
I
there's
described America as culturally inbred. And I think
yeah.
that's the best way to think about it. Like, our culture is consumer culture, which by definition is transient. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's also this this arrogance about, like you need to serve me now and it needs to be
Right.
on my terms and that sort of thing. And I think when you're over there and you're immersed in a group of people who are just going about their day, and there was a 7-Eleven on, like that was the only convenience store that I saw over there.
Mm.
And the last night we went in and we're like, all right, we're going to get some junk food. We're retiring to bed a little bit early because we got to travel the next day. We'll go in, we'll get what we typically do, like when we're staying up in Dewey, and get some Doritos and, some junk food. Well, you go into the 7-Eleven on the corner and it is immaculate for one.
Uh-huh.
And then, right by the cashier, the counter, it's full of like amazing looking pastries. I mean, and like
Yeah.
you got the frozen stuff, and you got all of the things that you might see a Danish version of, what you would imagine. But it's still like, oh, that sandwich that's sitting in the counter was made today and looks fantastic.
Right.
You know.
Otherwise, they wouldn't get sold.
Yeah.
I believe that. I believe that I'm a European consumer, which is why it's impossible for me to, like, I'll go into stores and be like, you know what? Just going in made
Yeah.
me lose my appetite.
Well,
The other-
and also in the dining culture too, right? The every meal that we ate out, we thought we like in our minds we're like, we like to eat and drink. We're not doing a lot of the tourist stuff. We'll check
Right.
a museum off the box so that we can go, all right, got that done. Now we can go have a beer.
Mm.
But every place that we went in, we'd sit down and in our minds, it's like, all right, we'll grab a quick bite here and then we'll move on and we'll find something else. But if you're eating, it's coursed out. You order we went into this little cafe. It was a kind of a French cafe, and we got, some oysters, some soup, and a steak that we were going to split. And it like we would in America, the waiter's like, do you want that out all at once or whenever it's ready? And we were just kind of like, yeah, whenever it's ready. And sure enough, the oysters came out first, after 10 minutes. It doesn't take 10 minutes to shuck 6
Right.
oysters. But, we had our wine, we had our beer, and we ate all the oysters, and they were phenomenal. And we were like, took time to kind of like savor them a little bit. And then we chatted and then, another 10 minutes later, the soup comes out. And it was a French onion soup that had more broth than cheese. Like in
Because
America,
you weren't
it's
in
like
America.
it's all bread and cheese. Um, and same thing. Like the guy's like, before he brought it out, I was like, "Are you splitting that?" Yeah, if that's okay. Just we'll just share a spoon. No, they brought out 2 separate portions,
Oh, wow.
right? And then the steak, same deal. They brought out a separate plate, and yeah, what stopping into a cafe for a quick bite turns into, a 2-hour dining experience. And, like you have all of the benefits of taking longer to digest and enjoying the surroundings and
Getting full
being
faster.
being so impressed with how bilingual everybody is, or, or even more languages. And yeah, it's just it's just a nice, it's a nice change of pace. I like things in America quite a bit. I love our service. I love our dining experience. My whole Dewey Raw podcast taking the direction of talking about industry stuff. But it's great to get that perspective and be able to like immerse yourself in the culture that you're visiting. Right. I think that's
yeah.
the point. That's the point of traveling and I think that's where Americans have a bad rap. And not necessarily a false rap, but it's, they're always trying to
We
inflict
bring our
their
culture with us.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so much better just to kind of like, release yourself to it.
The other thing that I wanted to mention before I forgot, I actually wrote it down. I wrote it down before you said the word. Aquavit is my drink of the winter. I had named it my drink of the winter earlier this month.
No,
I'm
really?
very excited about that. I've been making Aquavit martinis.
Okay.
So I make essentially a dry martini with Aquavit and Lillet,
Okay.
Lillet Blanc. And it is great.
Yeah.
Especially if you get the Lillet just right, you get that nice minty caraway
Yeah.
flavor, but it's not too burny, and it's
Because
so
Aquavit
good.
can be pretty burny if you're, yeah.
Hey, and that doesn't matter. I used to call it lettuce liquor. I used to keep it in the freezer. And then
Yeah.
I stopped for like years and years and years. And earlier I guess in mid-November, I was like, oh, I haven't had this in forever. And I made a martini out of it. And that has been like my go-to drink. And it tastes wintry. It feels like a good,
Yes.
nice winter drink. So
Yeah.
a winter martini. I don't know. It probably has an actual name, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fun. Natalie, I think while we were over there, found a Nordic expat website to buy some stuff. So we're having some Aquavit from Copenhagen shipped over. Of course, we're paying twice for the shipping what we for
Right.
the actual bottle, but and some other things we do the 7 fishes for Christmas Eve dinner. So there's probably going to be some Scandinavian influence in there, some Danish influence in there as well.
It's no better time to have. I love pickled herring. I love pickled whiting. I like it in sour cream. Is that how they have pickled herring? Sometimes you can get either.
They had a remoulade, which is a mayonnaise based thing.
Right.
That was very tasty.
Yeah, that must be. I don't know what kind my mom gets. It comes in a jar, and I love it.
Yeah.
So I have some news from a different podcast that I wanted to share with you. And I don't want to become like a stripper heavy show. My mom gave me a hard time for saying that there were too many strip clubs near our house. Right,
Mom.
The one episode she listens to. Hi, Mom, if you're listening again. But she's generally not a listener. But I have more stripper news, and I wanted to share it with you. I've been saving it. A podcast that I listen to that I really like is called Why Would You Tell Me That? And it's two Irish guys, and they are just trading trivia. Like one guy says, here are my cool facts along a theme, and the other guy's the same thing. So recently, and probably 3 weeks ago by now, they were talking about a study that said, oh, I'm so sorry about that. A study that said that strippers make more money when they are ovulating. Like
Oh,
they charted it, and
yeah.
and
I feel like
strippers.
I feel like I've heard this fact.
Oh, it's possible. I didn't know. I had never heard that fact before, and I don't dispute it. I mean, this seemed completely legitimate. You know, it's from a report. Blah, blah, blah.
It's like a biological thing, right?
Right.
Like a pheromone thing.
But here's the problem. So again, I think I mentioned it before, but I've never been to a strip club. If I go, like, when I go to a restaurant
Mm.
and I tip at the end of my meal, right? I base it on factors, like not factors. And it's like, well, I usually tip about this much for this much, right? Just,
Yeah.
and so like with a barber shop, like I tip the barber the same, and then every time their prices go up, I up my tip the same amount.
Right.
So I wonder, like, if the first stripper I go to is ovulating, I wonder if that starts my tip amount higher.
Yeah.
And then if the next one isn't ovulating, do I really tip them less?
Yeah.
Like if my instinct is to tip the stripper less, I don't know how much you tip a stripper. Is it like $1,000? Is it like $8?
You don't tip a stripper. You just give them money.
Oh, I think this may be for lap dances then.
Okay, maybe, yeah. Okay, yeah.
So again, we should talk to somebody who knows this shit, but let's pretend we know about lap dances. So I'm going to make up a number. $10
Okay.
is $10 as a cheapskate. I don't know if I would feel like I would feel so weird.
Tony, I don't think you get in the
dance.
door. You don't get in the door for $10.
Well, let's use numbers I can. All right, so let's say $35. Okay,
Okay.
$40. The first stripper is $40. I'm like, that was a $40. I paid for the lap dance, whatever lap dance costs, and then on top of that, here's $40. So in my mind, it's lap dance plus $40. And so the next place I go, if the lap dance costs the same,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, is it 40? Is 40 too much? That means she's not ovulating, or that the other one was ovulating. Alternatively, if I'm like, that feels like a $50 lap dance, that means the last stripper probably wasn't ovulating, and it didn't occur to me to pay the additional for ovulation tax or whatever we're going to call it.
You know, I think with all good science, Tony, what you need is a large sample size. So you will have to have, 100 or more lap dances before you can actually, be able to parse out some information.
Seems like a lot of money to spend. I mean, I'm only vaguely curious. I would rather someone else did it. I don't want to fund a stripper study.
Fund a stripper study. I feel like, and I could be making this up, but I feel like there was a study that was done, but then it was also like female bartenders, right?
Oh, same thing.
Yep, same thing, and I don't know, maybe even female barbers or or hairstylists if you're a guy going to a hairstylist. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's more the sample size of the and just tracking it against the cycle.
I'm pretty when I have like a formula for, not a formula, like it's
well,
like,
I think most people do. Like, so I think we've talked about it before. When I go out, right, because I love the industry and I'm a lot of my friends are in it. It's kind of like the cover charge, right?
Yeah.
If I don't have $20 to give to somebody before I order a drink, I'm I have to convince myself that I don't need to go out.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm already $20 in the hole, whoever is on the other side of the bar or whoever's waiting or that sort of thing.
Right.
Obviously up to $100. But we go out. we go out a good bit and we spend a good bit. But that's the nature of things. And that actually took some adjusting when we were over in Denmark too, because they have, they are paid, they're paid
They're
more,
professionals. Yeah.
and there's a service charge that is already included. So a lot of the restaurants, you would just like the beer bar, you would walk up. It wasn't even like the pubs in Ireland. You'd walk up and there'd be a bar and there'd be no stools at the bar. And you'd buy your 3 Christmas beers for you, Natalie, and her cousin Tom, and they put them and they'd give you the thing, you tap your card and you're done. So like no tip, no
Right.
opening a tab or anything like that. And then you just go and you sit down and drink your beers and do it again. So it's a little different take than.
And when I took German class, the name of it was Biergeld, I think. Biergeld? And that's like essentially keep the change. So we were told, and this was back before it was assumed that everybody would always have credit cards all the time. Like, if your bill's $4.50, you leave a $5 bill, and that's the end of the day. Just a little bit off the top, so nobody has to make any change. But you're not feeling like this poor waitress's kids aren't going to get Christmas presents because I cheaped out on the tip.
Yeah. Turns out they're taken care of with all that universal health care and
right. Yeah. It's really tough. It's really tough to see how easy it would be to do it if we genuinely cared about doing it. But I don't want to bring the room down. No. What I do want to say is this our last show before Christmas? We're probably not going to do it. Do you want to do a show next Christmas? It's the 24th. I'm not going to be sober at this hour. I don't know if that matters.
We could do it on Tuesday. I'm open on Tuesday.
Okay, let's talk. We won't make everybody else listen to this, but because then I'm away for a week and you're probably away for a week for Christmas. So let's see if we can do one on the 23rd and then take off until the 6th or whatever. That's all I got for this week anyway. How about you?
I got nothing.
All right. Well, remember, until next time, that at the beach,
it's happy hour whenever you say it is.